Adja, you said that you have been working with and looking at and studying the Elven Star, and you've noticed since that began that things have accelerated for you. I'm just wondering if there's anything in your Elven Star that you've noticed that might point towards that acceleration.
Bringing my consciousness to the vibrational qualities has helped. And I've discussed it with James a little bit, because I was working with the 7 lines of the Anabacoa, and I felt that they harmonized with the 7 points or the 7 planes of consciousness. And then he helped me with the shamanic aspect of the power animals.
Yes.
Which for me it continued to bring in a cascade of different guides to support. And my visual acuity sort of increased so that I could animate the power animal with the symbol of the Sabian symbol for that point. So as I went through the Anabacoa for each line of manifestation, I could see the animation in my mind. And it all just seemed so fluid and natural. And that's where I really noticed that. It was like I was on a magic carpet. All these synchronicities began to happen in the outer world, different connections with other artists, a sort of release of inhibitions in the studio and I realized just this morning that I've been doing artwork since I was a little kid. And it's like all these different interests that I've had as a 7 on the Enneagram, I suddenly see that my focus, all of them are being drawn into one practice that feels really rich and deep and intentional, but driven very much by this intuitive voice that I've followed since I was a little kid.
Mm.
And that idea of 7, James, 7 was my favorite number from the time I turned 7, just throughout my whole life. I have just had stories in my mind about 7 and no real reason why. So it all feels like there've just been sort of pointers on the path, that I've sort of followed to this.
You said you were bringing them all together into one practice. Can you describe what that one practice is? Are you building an Elven Star in your visualization or in some physical form? I'm trying to understand what you mean by a single practice.
Oh, the meditation, the daily meditation for me has become reciting or singing the Anabacoa prayer, which is 7 lines. It's a kabbalistic prayer. And I had that old rabbi come in on my highest plane as well. I don't know if you remember that. So it's that 7-line prayer. So at the first line, I'll be at the first point of the star. And then on the second line, I travel down. And in my mind, I'm animating my power animal with my Sabian symbol. And whatever guides also have come in and kind of attached themselves to certain points.
Yeah, that's exactly what I imagined you were doing. And that's exactly what I'm doing in a different way.
Wow.
I think that's what we're doing. I think that's what the Elven Star is, an Elven consciousness is. It's using the 7-pointed star to focus our mind on 7 as a track. So there's a sequential movement implied to create a star. And at each of the nodal points, in other words, the star's points, we have various correspondences. Now, I'm starting the ball rolling by saying, let's use the 7-word system. Let's use Sabian symbols. Somebody else put the idea into my mind. Let's use power animals. And now you're introducing kabbalistic prayer with the 7 different types. I think as long as we've got a symbol of 7, a system of 7, then there should be an easy way of making the correspondences. And we might start to add color. That's the obvious thing that we could add soon. And colors have been considered in the past. I don't know if that's definitive finally, but we've been using a color set in the past for the 7-word system. And other correspondences with systems of 7, I think we can start discussing and seeing if that shares, if anybody wants to share that.